Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. It's good to have you here. My name is Gemma. I am an advanced occultist, and today I want to talk about a little bit about race. I'd like to talk about race and just the spiritual concepts of it, and also the 3D aspects as well, because there's been a lot of racism thrown around, hate speech, and obviously it's out of order because we come through many skins. So if you want to hear this one, stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. So, I was going to talk about this now. This is racism. Obviously it's a touchy topic. So I want to really talk about this because I think it's important in society today. And I think it has spiritual connotations to it, but I can get into that as well. And so this will interlink with astrology as well, which is quite interesting. Fourth dimensional concepts. So what I want to do is really break down what racism is for anyone that doesn't know, even though you probably do. But racism is really where people are discriminatory against people that have different colour skins, like different colour skin, and they portray a hatred towards them purely on the colour of their skin. And unfortunately this is real. No, this happens, and it's extremely pronounced in this society. So I'm going to put my opinion out there first, and I'm going to say that I don't agree with racism. I'm going to say that we obviously program ourselves in. Okay, so we have to understand that we program ourselves in, and if there are aspects of rising from the traps concepts, because people can say it's a prison planet, so we can rise from the traps. Okay, so we have to bear this in mind through everything that I'm going to talk about. This is where I kind of come to understand these concepts of really how this can play out within society. This is a narrative, okay, programmed narrative, and it really is. And it's about understanding that this is obviously a continuum throughout society, through eras, okay? And it's true, So in Egypt they were the same, the Egyptians, okay? They didn't want to share their knowledge with other races, okay? So let's get into that one, okay? I think that I just really want to press that we choose what we are. We come through and we choose. And there can be an aspect there where, it can be sort of almost like you don't have a choice and you just have to accept certain things, especially when you come through, because there's a veil of forgetting. So we have to remember that there is a veil of forgetting in the astral realms when we hit that, because we go down, okay? So we have to understand that it's not 3D and you kind of forget your memories. It's more like 5D, and then you do it again, okay? So there's a number of ways how we can forget, okay? So we program ourselves in, and there can be a controlling aspect to that as we go down into the dimensions, okay? That's important. Right, so let's get back to race and understand that personally, my opinion is that there should be no need for racism. It's a 3D lesson, and it's something that requires an level of understanding, okay, that we have many skins, we choose to incarnate through this cycle, and it's up to us to overcome these lessons, okay, about race, to overcome these lessons, to understand that we're all the same, okay? We might have different aspects of our blood that might be different, but that's okay. Okay, now this is an aspect of coding. We code our DNA. So we're going to have different types of blood because there's fractions. But I'll get into that a little bit in a minute. But ultimately, we are all the same, okay? So I'm going to press on now. So let's go back to Egypt. Okay. They obviously didn't want to share their spiritual knowledge, and you know, that's understandable. Okay, the Greeks, they didn't want to share the knowledge. Okay, the Egyptians didn't want to share the knowledge with the Greeks. Okay, so this is obviously in a time, and I just want to talk about this. And, you know, we can also go into this a little bit more and talk about Alexander the Great, you know, the one that came over and took everything out. Right. These are really, you know, strong concepts, and, you know, people have a place in their heart because this is, you know, what we're taught at school. We're taught at school this stuff. We're taught a story about something, and you know, and I know, that there's two sides to a story. There's two people involved, so we're only taking one narrative of a story, and it's left just one. So we have to understand and open our minds that there are many concepts to this. There's many stories to be told from this one narrative that's pressed down, that's taught in schools. And it's true, you know, and it might not necessarily be what you actually think it is. And I think obviously as we mature and grow older, we obviously open our minds naturally anyway, and we're all on our own spiritual journey, and some people might be behind and some people might be in front, and that's okay as well. You know, if you're starting off your spiritual journey, then that's fine. Okay, it's the same concept, right? So we can see the play out there in Egyptian and Greeks, okay? We can also, because obviously, you know, they were a different race. Now, we can talk about this again with Alexander the Great. He was white, and then there was all the other races, black and is it Turkish, right? So there's different races, and they're all sort of, you know, have different skins, and they have different aspects of culture, and that's obviously normal, okay? Because it's almost like there's places, and then we evolve and disperse and grow. Right. So, obviously I'm talking about race, and it's not very nice. It's discrimination. Discrimination. Outright discrimination, out of order. So if those things did happen, and they conquered for those particular reasons, well, that's out of order. Over race. That's disgusting. It's silly. Quite frankly, silly at this stage of our evolution to understand that now and go back, in my opinion. And I'm allowed to have an opinion, and everyone else is as well. So what now I want to do is I want to go into a little bit about other cultures, so we can understand the pre-program play out. We have the Rwandas, yeah, So I don't know if anyone knows why this didn't happen that long ago, but there was the Tutsis and the Hutus, or the Houthis and the Tuts, right? And it was only in the 90s. I think it was in the 90s. And what happened was the radio stations were divided, and there was one position and then another position, and there was a divide that was created within Rwanda, and it led to them going round a civil war, right? This radio station, this divide of a radio station caused a divide within society. Okay, so we can understand that programs can cause a divide. It does anyway. There's a dichotomy at play. So what happened was they were separated to the Houthis and the Hoots and the Tuts. Alright? So the radio stations, picked one thing. Nose. Our noses. Their noses. So if you had a long nose and then a button nose, you were separated. So we have now 2 divides just over what we look like. So this is an understanding aspect of, it's not necessarily racism because they're all black, but it was a play out to cause a divide from the aristocrats down into society. Okay? And it caused a civil war, and they were going around decapitating each other. Okay? And that is actually true, that happened. So we can now go back to Egypt and say, why is everyone's nose broke off? It's race. It was about race. But was it about race? Was it about a narrative that was being played out through eons? And then it played out again in Rwanda? Okay? What if it was about the shape of somebody's nose? So we have to think about it like this now. Not necessarily about the colour of somebody's skin, but we're going to talk about somebody's nose. So my nose is a long nose. So I would have been obviously with the long noses, wouldn't I? So we have to understand a dichotomy that plays out within a society, and it's an agenda. There's a narrative. Okay? Do we participate in that divide, or can we stand back and be grown-ups and say, is there a reason why this is taking place? Is there a reason why that's taking place? Okay? Because ultimately what it was the aristocrats at the top, the ones that were loaded, wanted the money, bureaucrats, took the land after they all savagely killed each other and children. And I watched it on a video actually. I studied criminology at university, and one of the topics were war crimes and genocide, and we had to watch that. And I watched, they were recording it while it was happening in real time, and there was just dead bodies everywhere. Now obviously I'm trying to keep it, so I can keep this at a certain age, so I don't have to restrict it. But it's honestly quite terrifying to watch that. And, it happens. Now, this isn't, we have to understand in Egypt, is it about that? Was it about race, white and black? Or is that the new narrative? I believe that it wasn't necessarily, we can't define it because one, we weren't there, and then two, we got away from our mind. understand we have to be mature about this. And there was an issue about a different shaped noses. Okay? So we have to really like understand that there's a play out, and it's a program, whether we like it or not, that's being dripped through society. And we have to understand these concepts like it is a narrative, and we can step away and have a bird's eye view and see the truth of the matter. That it's not necessarily about whatever you've got all these issues, so you get involved and you start looking at all the dichotomies and you just get lost in it because it's absolute nonsense. Okay? So that's my opinion, because I've watched how you can be discriminating against, certain things that happened ages ago. Like in Rwanda, all that mass savage, all that mass negative energy. And then the aristocrats come and took the land. So they now have farmland, and it's not, small farms anymore for the people. It's just a mass business owned land. And this is how it happens. Conquer and divide. Right? They create problem, and then you just watch them play it out. Society as a whole, watch it play out. Now this is difficult to it took me years to get over that. So I became aware, obviously, watching. I always thought that anyway, but just observing. And now I see it throughout society, like the problems about race now. There's a lot of there's a lot of people being racist against white people. And whatever. I don't really, but it's not about that. It's not about whites versus blacks. Blacks' lives matter. Yeah, they do. I'm telling you now they do. I've had black friends. Okay? And I've been in relationships with black men. Okay? I'm not racist. I'm just bringing down a perspective, a different view, a different eye to understand that it's just a narrative that's being played out. And that's what's going on. And it's really about being able to step back away from that, understand that. That's 3D lesson. It's not a spiritual aspect, because once you rise and go higher and higher and higher, you understand that there is many skins. You have been many skins. And that's the truth. So let's go into blood, because people talk about blood as well. They bring that one up. So blood, obviously it is a different, and it's true, right? But we have to understand that O is the universal blood code. It's O. Everybody has O in them. Everybody does. They do. Everybody has an O in them. And, I've noticed as well that, different blood groups have different shaped heads. Okay? So, our bodies are different. Okay? But is that really a bad thing? Let's go out there and say, there's a really big crocodile here and it stood here talking to me, and I'm a human. Am I scared of that? No. Reptilian, crocodile, what did you call him? Sobek, right? We can call him Sobek. Is that scary? Well, it bloody probably is, because it's a walking, talking crocodile. Nobody really, thinks, oh gosh, it's reptilian. So then you think, oh my God, it's a crocodile and they're lethal. Well, yeah, as a 2D aspect, it's lethal. Okay? But as a 3D aspect, if it's walking around and talking, then you've got to think that it has a different level of consciousness. Okay? So this is understanding, different races, but we can go into alien species if you like. Right? So this is where we can go beyond. Even in an aspect of if it was, just an understanding a concept. That, they obviously grow in an intelligence. Once you get from 2 to 3, you grow in intelligence. You get to 3. So now you've got a 3D concept of, a big crocodile walking around talking, right? So this is an idea. I'm just going to put it out there as an idea. So, then you understand that is a different thing to you. So if this, reptilian has reached a different level of consciousness, it's going to be different, isn't it? Right? So obviously this would be a spiritual concept, so let's go higher than that, because that one would be, it's not here, is it? Okay, so we can understand that there's a higher level of consciousness at play as well. So we are now in an aspect, let's go back to 3D, forget the reptilian, we are now in 3D, and this is a narrative playing out, and it's about learning 3D lessons, and race, and different shaped noses, different shaped eyes, it's a narrative, and it's about rising from that 3D concept and going above, beyond 4 as well, because they're the ideas, that's where the ideas reside anyway, and they're ever going, and then you've got 5D, so it's really about rising and understanding from a bird's eye level, so you can look down and understand these concepts. It's not about because we have, we are different, and it should be okay that we're all different. And I just wanted to put that out there. It goes with everything, disability, race, age, gender, sex. Okay? And there's big major portions, and they are always the ones that play out within society. Disability, like I said, race, age, because obviously you get the younger ones, they're coming through, they're just learning. Alright? You've got the younger generation coming in learning, right? So you've got the millennials, we're all 30 odd now, getting there. And then you've got, the ones that are younger, and they're just coming out of that. They're beginning to learn these concepts, and they're speaking about it. And it always gains traction. There's always, a new generation to teach. And this is really why I'm talking about this. And it's about being patient as well with this generation, because we're here to help them, okay? We are. And that's really the truth. It's not about being behind or front or anything like that. It's just really about understanding these concepts are ever going, and as long as it stays in control, and we can control these things, and as long as we can control these, so it doesn't get out of hand, like in what happened in Rwanda. It really is about what, and it's always going to take place. These things are just sort of like natural to take place as well. So we have to understand as adults, or ones that are maturer, that there is a play out, and it is about really understanding that eventually they'll get there, and some people don't, and they have to come back and learn that lesson again. And that's not really, that's probably, that's their lesson. Okay? So, to be honest, I'm going to say I'm not racist, and I don't intend to be, and I have been. I've always been, open like that. I'm very open spiritually, and I think race is, like disability, like sex, the sex wars that's going on at the minute. Okay, so like I said, they're obviously the main ones that play out in society all the time, and it's really about just understanding that they're the main concepts that we need to understand, and it's almost like if we can evolve past those concepts then as a society in general, we can evolve. And that's really important to understand. Because imagine what we can do with our brains if we put them together and work together, instead of just fighting over different old paradigms. Okay? Because that's what they are. They're old paradigms. So if we can get past those ideas as a species, as a collective, a universal collective, then we can go beyond that. Okay? So really, it's really about we can be stuck in these 3D lessons, and it's about rising from them lessons and becoming better versions of ourselves and respecting other people along the way. And if it happened in the past, it's not about revenge, because we don't really know what happened. We just know a narrative. Okay? And it's about really sitting with ourselves and understanding that, or approaching it from a different perspective. Okay? Race is taught to us. Being racist is taught to us. And that is very important. Anyway, I'm finished. I'm done. If you like my content, like and subscribe, and there'll be more. Take care.